Hi, gang, it's Patrick.
And Adam.
Coming up on today's episode, we celebrate Pride with a discussion about queer content as it relates to Disney media. As always, we discuss the latest Disney news, and we close out the show with some quick D. All that and more on today's episode of Gays Do the D.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Adam, Rainbow Bright Hummel.
Patrick, Rosanna Kozaki.
Rosanna Dana. That's an old Saturday Night Live reference for all of you elderly folk like Adam and I.
I was thinking of the 80s song, Rosanna, yeah.
Wow, that's just an earworm, Adam, just an earworm.
Meet you all the way.
All right, keep going.
Rosanna, yeah. Isn't that how the song goes?
I have no idea. I don't know what song you're talking about. But yes, it's exactly how it goes.
It was a hit.
I'm just too young to know that, Adam.
Oh, please. You just brought up Rosanna Dana.
I'm young, not stupid.
You're not stupid, but you know what is stupid, Patrick?
What's that?
This friggin' pandemic.
COVID's so stupid.
COVID is so stupid. It is keeping us apart, and I can't take it any longer.
Well, you may have to, but luckily, we have Zencastr to help us out.
Thanks, Zencastr.
This is not an ad for Zencastr, but we are, in fact, using Zencastr to do our remote recordings.
They've been so helpful during this time of separation. They've kept us connected, Patrick.
Zencastr, bringing people together.
During global pandemics.
Pod, save, Zencastr. Well, now that we have that business out of the way, Adam, how was your week?
It was a very, very busy week. And this was the week, Patrick, during the pandemic, where I realized that I'm about a wash and a set away from a full-on Queen Elizabeth hairdo going on the top of my head.
Sensible.
Look at the length.
I need you to add like a little bow, like an Eeyore bow on his tail situation.
I'm happy to do it.
Okay.
These curls, can you handle it?
I don't think I can handle it. I've been using the clippers on myself a lot lately, doing a lot of self-haircuts.
Downstairs.
It's just a mess everywhere else. But on my head, it's glorious and tight.
I actually just cut Matthew's hair this morning.
You did?
I did, but enough about our hair. How was your week?
It was good. Not too bad. I mean, what's good anymore? Who can say?
You got to look for those little moments that you can celebrate, right? They're still there, but they just seem like a little bit harder to find these days.
They're hidden, and you kind of have to force them to happen nowadays.
Well, who doesn't love a forced moment?
Well, amen to that. Amen to that. I do have to say, Adam, I have to give a shout out to our Tweedledees real quick. I did a donation drive to purchase some much needed essentials and food to deliver to communities in need in Minneapolis. And I posted about it on Facebook and Instagram. And so many of our Tweedledees rose to the occasion, sent some money, and we were able to raise $1,500 to donate.
That's incredible.
Incredible. So thank you, everyone out there who threw some money my way to purchase these essentials and food items. It went a long way. 2 carfuls were donated today.
That's amazing, Patrick.
Super amazing. So thank you very much, everybody. I really, really appreciate that. It's going to go a long ways. Well, speaking of celebrations, Adam, last week I failed to mention, and this is completely my fault, I had it on my list and I did not say it, June 19th was Juneteenth that we should have celebrated last week, but we're going to talk about it briefly this week. So for those who don't know, June 19th commemorates the date, June 19, 1865, when Union soldiers landed at Galveston, Texas, bringing news to the enslaved African Americans there that the Civil War had ended and they were now free. It should be noted that this announcement in Texas came 2 months after the Civil War actually ended and 2.5 years after President Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, which happened on January 1st, 1863. Today, 47 states officially recognize recognize Juneteenth. Hawaii, North Dakota, and South Dakota do not. Come on, guys, time to catch up. And last year, the Senate passed a resolution to recognize Juneteenth, Independence Day, as a national holiday. However, the House has not yet approved it. So if you are interested, you can go to change.org and add your name to a petition to make Juneteenth a national holiday.
Wait a minute. The Senate approved it, but the House didn't?
Yeah, what's going on? What's happening there?
That's like the opposite of every other thing that's ever been done in government.
Well, listen, our entire world is backwards right now, so does it really not make sense?
Come on, House, pass it.
Come on, House.
I think it's going to happen. It's absolutely going to happen. There was such momentum behind it this year, and it will be a national holiday lickety-split.
It needs to be. It's such a shame that it hasn't been. And I'm finding more and more these days that there are so many important moments in history that we just were not taught about or educated about in American schools. And it's past time that we learn about all of these amazing, significant moments in history.
Like Father's Day.
Exactly like Father's Day, Adam. We never learn about Father's Day, do we?
We never learn enough about Father's Day, but it was Father's Day this past Sunday. So we need to wish all of the fathers out there, all of the fathers, all of the gunkles, those are the gay uncles, all of the big brothers out there, all of the mothers who are fathers, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for being fathers.
Thanks, dads.
And daddies.
Uh-oh. Is that what we celebrate?
I celebrate daddies on a daily basis.
Interesting. Well, we have another celebration to get to, Adam. We have a new Patreon family member. Andrew has recently joined our Patreon page.
Andrew, welcome to the Patreon family.
For those who don't know, Gays Do the D does have a Patreon membership page where for as little as $1 a month reoccurring, you can donate to be part of our Patreon family, which gives you extra Gays Do the D episodes called Gays Do the D Raw and Uncut.
Raw and uncut.
Oh dear, happy Father's Day. So thank you so much, Andrew, and thank you to all of our Patreon members.
Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate your support, and we appreciate you listening.
Thank you.
So we got to talk about next week's episode, Patrick.
We do?
We do, because I'm not going to be here.
Uh-oh. What's going to happen? Are we shutting down?
How dare you? Never. The show must go on, and very exciting, the show will absolutely go on with a very special guest host. Patrick, do you want the honor of announcing who our very special guest host is next week?
It is my absolute pleasure to announce that Amanda will be joining us as temporary co-host of Gays Do the D.
Or if it goes really well, permanent. I'm not going to put labels on this, Patrick. If you two totally hit it off and feel the need to dismiss me, I want you to know that I will accept it. There may be some tears, but I will move on.
There's a very slim chance that Amanda and I will have any chemistry whatsoever.
That's a great point.
She's a monster, and she cannot be let on the pod more than once every other month.
All of our diehard listeners know Amanda. She's been on several episodes. She is a Tweedledee and a patron.
It's true.
So you better be on your best behavior because the money is going to be on the mic with you.
I have to say, Amanda is one of the most well-spoken, highly educated people. She blows us out of the water with her knowledge. I cannot wait to have a full episode to talk to her.
Yeah, she's kind of like Disney's answer to Oprah. She has that wisdom. She spills those truths. She's very comforting. She kind of hugs you with her verbiage.
That is quite the comparison. I will allow it.
Well, I hope you two have a wonderful time. I can't wait to hear next week's episode.
Well, Adam, we're celebrating holidays. We're celebrating the fact that you won't be here next week. Let's celebrate some anniversaries.
Yes, let's do that.
All right, we have quite the list again. As you know, June is a heavy-hitting month for Disney films, blockbuster films in general. What do you say we blow through them with your one-word answer to each film again?
I'm ready for this moment.
All right, tie your hair back. Here we go. Turning 8 years old, released on June 22nd, 2012, Brave.
Hair.
Turning 9 years old, released on June 24th, 2011, Cars 2.
Why?
Wow, that was rude, but moving on. Turning 12 years old, released on June 27th, 2008, Wall-E.
Love.
Yeah, fair enough. This one makes me feel very old. Turning 23 years old, released on June 27th, 1997, Hercules.
Hot.
Fair, that's fair. Turning 25 years old, released on June 23rd, 1995, Pocahontas.
Connection.
All right, that's broad. It's a broad stroke, but okay, I like it. Turning 31 years old, released on June 23rd, 1989, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Colander.
What? Okay. Oh, because he was wearing one on his head.
That is the first thing I think of when I think of that movie. Isn't that crazy?
That is pretty random, but I think it was like the movie poster, right? Or one of the movie posters that he had it on his head with the big glasses.
Yeah, he had like the magnifying glass in front of his mouth or something, yeah.
All right, moving on to one of my very favorite movies, turning 32 years old, released on June 22nd, 1988, Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Classic.
Classic indeed. Turning 43 years old, released on June 22nd, 1977, The Rescuers.
Huh?
What?
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
I was like, wait, is that a phrase in the movie? I don't think so. Amazing. That was amazing. All right. Bumping way up in time, turning 65 years old, released on June 22nd, 1955, Lady and the Tramp.
Neuter.
Wow. Wowee.
We have to help control the pet population, people.
Are you hosting The Price is Right now?
That's where we all learned it, Patrick. That's where we all learned that there was an issue in this country with the pet population.
6 of our listeners are going to understand that reference.
Okay, I'm just going to point you back to Rosanna Dana at the beginning of the episode and continue.
Fair enough. Last but certainly not least, we have a birthday to celebrate, Adam, who would have been 127 years old on June 24th, born in 1893, Roy Disney.
Architect.
See, for you, I was going to say schoolmate.
That's so rude, Patrick.
Or peer, or colleague, maybe.
You know what? I'll take it. I would have been very fortunate to have been Roy Disney's peer or colleague.
But instead you have me, so sorry about it.
Yeah, that's rough. That's a rough comparison.
Yeah, fair. That's very fair. So happy birthday, Roy Disney, and happy anniversary to all 163 movies we just listed.
Well, as everyone knows, Patrick, it is Pride Month. It is a time to celebrate and reflect, but mostly celebrate, but also reflect, but kind of celebrate. So we're going to celebrate by having a little sale. And from June 24th through June 26th, everything in our merch store on our website is up to 35% off, including t-shirts, hoodies, totes, phone cases, face masks, and more.
Face masks, indeed. You know, I just got my Purple Wall Magic Kingdom face mask in the mail that I purchased on our Gaze to the D website.
I saw a picture, Patrick. You are stunning with 3/4 of your face covered up.
I've been told by many people after COVID, continue to wear the mask, specifically you, Patrick.
It's like a face advent calendar. You don't quite know what you're going to get once the reveal happens. Sometimes it's a little piece of chocolate. Sometimes it's a crappy little toy figurine. But either way, you've got something there.
Yeah, no one wants this prize when they peel back that mask. It's just a mess.
No, it's not. It's adorable. You got those little dimples.
Aw, thank you. That's all I was searching for a compliment, so thank you.
You got it. You got it. So to take advantage of our Pride sale, head on over to our website, that's gazetothed.com, and click on the merch tab at the top of the screen.
And we should mention, Adam, that this month we are donating 100% of the proceeds that we get from our merch store to the Trans Justice Funding Project. Tell our Tweedledees, Adam, what the Trans Justice Funding Project is all about.
The Trans Justice Funding Project is a community-led funding initiative founded in 2012 to support grassroots trans justice groups run by and for trans people. They promote the leadership of trans people organizing around experiences with racism, economic injustice, trans misogyny, ableism, immigration, incarceration, and other intersecting oppressions. Every penny Got that, everybody? Every single penny the Trans Justice Funding Project raises goes to their grantees with no restrictions and no strings attached because they truly believe in trans leadership. To learn more about the Trans Justice Funding Project, visit transjusticefundingproject.org and follow them on Instagram and Twitter at transjusticefp.
It's a fantastic organization. In fact, it's one of the organizations that you can find listed on our website right now, Adam.
They're right there, Patrick, along with many, many other valuable resources.
Exactly. For those who don't know, we have added a community recovery and resources link to our gaysdothed.com website where you can find all sorts of helpful information. If you have information that you would like us to post, please send it our way. We'd be happy to give that a shout out. Also, you should know that we have a coronavirus relief tab where you can click and donate money to help recovery efforts due to COVID-19.
Yes, as we mentioned at the top of the show, that's still going on. So I want everyone out there to please wear your masks. I've been hearing some very unsettling stories coming out of certain states. I won't call you out certain states, but you're not doing so hot.
Well, it is hot there right now. I'm guessing you're talking about Florida. I'll call you out. I'm talking to you, Florida. Pull it together.
Come on, Florida.
You can do better. I need to visit you soon, so do your part to get me to go to Florida again. That's the real reason, isn't it?
That is the real reason to end this horrible pandemic. It's to get Patrick back to Florida.
Thank you so much.
And what will Patrick be wearing when he goes to Florida? He'll be wearing one of our fabulous, newly designed t-shirts, Patrick. And so will a couple of our lucky giveaway winners.
Ooh, I like your segue action today. It's really on point.
Thank you so much. Yes, ladies and gentlemen and undecided, it is Pride Month giveaway week 3 results. The results are in.
Are you Maury Povich today now? You're running through the daytime TV lineup, and I'm here for it.
Am I home sick with a cold from elementary school? Because it's The Price is Right and Maury.
And Oprah. You've mentioned Oprah as well.
You're right. The whole lineup, they're all there. Throw in some Young and the Restless, and we've got a full day.
Well, that's me right now, Adam, young and restless.
You're one of those things.
Wow. I am very tired.
All right, it's time to announce the winner of our Week 3 giveaway. Our Week 3 giveaway was the Library is Open t-shirt featuring the silhouette of Belle in that iconic moment in the bookstore when she's on the ladder. And it, of course, references an iconic television show, RuPaul's A Drag Race, and it references Paris is Burning.
Yeah, I'd more so like to give the credit to that statement for Paris is Burning, not RuPaul. RuPaul, you stole it. It's fine. We're moving on. Yeah, I called you out, RuPaul. You just got read.
You read her the house down boots. I don't know what that means, Patrick, but people say it.
Wow, it sounded so effortless coming out of your mouth.
And our Instagram winner of the Library is Open t-shirt is Sean, who you can find on Instagram at Sparkinson Cosplay. Congratulations, Sean.
Congratulations, Sean. We also have a Patreon winner amongst us, Adam. Bart has also won the Library is Open t-shirt. Congratulations, Bart.
Sean, Bart, you're both going to look fabulous.
Can't wait. Once you get those t-shirts, send us a picture. We'll post it immediately.
Oh, that's so good, Patrick.
We just need the advertising. I don't really care. I just want the advertising.
Noted. Let's move on, shall we? Patrick, this is our final giveaway for Pride Month.
Oh no, our pride is all dried up.
It was mostly gone when we started the month. Let's be real.
That's true. That's very true.
Our week 4 giveaway is yet another newly designed t-shirt. This t-shirt is entitled Love is Disney is Love.
I love that t-shirt.
You know, Patrick, rarely on this podcast are we sincere, and I thought this week, let's give it a shot.
Why not? Let's see what happens.
This design features a heart and actually comes in 4 versions, believe it or not. There is a rainbow flag pride version, and there is a trans flag pride version as well.
I love it.
And both of those versions come in a version with black text and a version with white text.
Options. I love it.
Does that even make sense what I said? I'm jumping all over the place. There's 4 options for this t-shirt.
Nobody's listening, Adam. It doesn't really matter.
So how can you win this t-shirt? I will tell you how. You can head on over to our Instagram at GDTD Podcast, follow us, like the post featuring the image of the t-shirt, and comment by tagging 3 of your Disney-loving friends. Do those things and you're entered to win. To obtain a second entry, repost our post and tag us at GDTD Podcast, or add it to your stories and tag us. Entries will be accepted up until 6:00 p.m. on Friday, June 26th. The winner will be contacted via DM shortly after that to obtain size info, and their name will be announced on our Monday, June 29th episode. Patreon members are automatically entered to win in a separate patron-only giveaway, and the winner will also be announced on our June 29th episode. This giveaway is in no way affiliated with or sponsored by Disney or Instagram.
That's a lot of information, Adam. All I heard was you say entries many times, and I got real excited about it.
A little aroused, weren't you?
It is Pride, after all. So many entries.
Like you said, options.
A girl's got to have options.
And just remember, dear listeners, you can gamble on your chance to win this t-shirt, or you could head right on over to gazetothed.com and purchase this t-shirt in our merch store. And the proceeds from your purchase, again, will go directly to the Trans Justice Funding Project. So do it right now.
What are you waiting for?
No press. Go buy a t-shirt.
Well, Adam, before we head into the news, we should make a call out to our Tweedledees. We are going to do a Questions and Peter Pantsers episode coming up very shortly. So we need your questions, y'all.
What do you want to know about? It's an uncertain time in our country and around the world, and Patrick and I are willing to tackle all of your hard-hitting questions.
Such as, what color socks are you wearing?
Or churros or toffee?
How heavy is your dog?
Culottes?
That's the best question yet. Just one word with a question mark. Culottes?
Spoiler alert, I'm going to answer that right now. Yes, always culottes.
Ooh, you put the cool in culottes, Adam.
I do put the cool in culottes. Thank you, Patrick.
So how can people get those questions to us, Adam?
Thanks to social media, they can reach out to us via Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at GDTD Podcast.
That's absolutely correct. You can also send us a voice memo or email to info@gazetothed.com. We also accept skywriting.
Wouldn't that be magical?
That would be magical AF. Somebody figure out a way to do that.
Also, let us know we should look up.
That's true. So if you are the Wicked Witch of the West writing Surrender Dorothy in the Sky, you have to let us know so we can take a picture of it.
I bet the Wicked Witch of the West looks pretty tasty in a pair of culottes.
Huh. All right. So she's the Wicked Sandwich of the West, right? She's a tasty snack.
Yes, that's exactly where I was going with that, Patrick. Thank you for clarifying.
Absolutely. It's Father's Day. All I have for you is dad jokes.
That's all we have any episode, Patrick.
Fair enough. Well, speaking of questions and Peter Pantsers, Adam, I have a very important question for you.
Yes?
Can you please take us into the news?
I can. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the news.
Wow, that was disturbing, but I thank you for that. We'll start out the news with a COVID-19 update as it relates to Disney, as well as new information around the reopening of the parks. So buckle up, kids. There's a lot to unpack. Ahead of the July 11th reopening of Disney World, Disney has announced their new Disney Park Pass system for guests to make parks reservations. Until further notice, all guests with a park ticket or annual pass will be required to use this reservation system in advance of entering the park, which can be found at disneyworld.com. So before you can make a park reservation, you'll need to have 3 things in order. You'll need a My Disney Experience account set up. You'll need a valid theme park ticket or an annual pass that is linked to your My Disney Experience account. And if you have a Disney Resort hotel reservation, you'll need to link that as well to your My Disney Experience account. After all that is confirmed and set, you can log in to your My Disney Experience account, where you'll have access to a calendar of available reservation dates for each of the parks. Now here, Adam, is where it gets a little interesting and tricky. If you have a multi-day ticket, you will be required to make a park reservation for each day of your planned trip. So you can't just do one of the days and move on. You have to do all of the days. If you're going with a group, you'll want to link all of your tickets together so you can arrange to be in the parks on the same dates. Once you have all that confirmed, you'll be able to select which park you're going to on each day of your trip, one park per day, which means that park hopping is temporarily unavailable until further notice. If you have already purchased a park hopper ticket, there will be options to modify or cancel that ticket. Disney has said that they are confident that park hopping will return, but they are not able to say when. So the new system will be rolled out in phases. On June 22nd, guests with a reservation at a Disney resort or other select hotels with a valid park admission or annual pass will have first access to the system and can make park reservations for the length of their stay. On June 26th, annual pass holders without a resort stay can make reservations, and on June 28th, all other existing ticket holders will be able to make their park reservations. Park reservations can be made through September 26th, 2021, based on your resort stay and ticket eligibility. If you have a vacation package, your ticket eligibility will be tied to the package date. So if you want to make a park reservation for a different date, you'll have to change the entire package. If you have a room reservation only for a stay in 2021, you'll need to call the Disney Reservation Center or your travel professional starting on June 24th to upgrade to a vacation package before you can make a park reservation. And finally, on June 28th, all guests will be able to purchase new Disney Resort hotel packages and park tickets for trips starting in 2021. Last but not least, in this segment of the story, later this summer, at an unspecified date, Disney will resume sales of 2020 tickets and Disney Resort hotel stays based on availability. Now, annual pass holders, however, will continue to be able to make 2020 park reservations throughout the year based on availability, but it should be noted that Disney will limit the number of park reservations an annual pass holder can have at one time. It's important to be aware that just because you have a park ticket or annual pass, that does not guarantee that you will get a reservation for the day you want, and the timing and details around the system could shift at any time, so stay flexible and be patient is my advice to you.
Well, if there's two things we know about Disney fans, it's that they're flexible and patient.
That is absolutely incorrect. So moving on, if you are an annual pass holder, you should be getting an email notification soon with a registration link for the July 9th and July 10th preview of the reopening of Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom. Reservations will be required and very limited and will be available on a first-come, first-served basis.
Good luck, APs.
Yeah, people are going to be fighting for those, I have a feeling. At least people in Florida. I don't imagine a lot of people out of the state will be going, but who can say?
There's going to be some competition to get into those parks. But you know what? You're going to be able to get in eventually, so it's going to be okay.
That's a very true statement, Adam. So let's move on to some health knowledge, Adam. Disney World has released a health acknowledgement that all guests must be aware of and abide by before entering the parks and resorts. The acknowledgement provides a checklist that must be met by all guests, including confirming that you and your party are not experiencing any symptoms of COVID-19 as identified by the CDC, have not been in contact with someone with confirmed or suspected COVID-19 symptoms without completing a 14-day quarantine, and are not under any self-quarantine orders.
There's also an essay portion.
Absolutely. So if health and safety talk sounds super boring, Adam, not to worry, it's about to get super incredible. This past week, Disney launched a health and safety campaign featuring characters from The Incredibles. Chief Medical Officer of Disney Parks, Dr. Pamela Heimel, announced the new campaign on Good Morning America. In the announcement, Dr. Heimel said, "When you plan your next vacation to Disneyland Resort, Walt Disney World Resort, and eventually Disneyland Paris, you'll soon be receiving some good advice from The Incredibles and their friends that will help make your trip super. So the campaign will focus on steps like wearing a face mask, washing your hands, and keeping a proper distance, all with the overarching slogan, "Together we can make today incredible."
This is a great idea. It's so smart to kind of tie the steps you need to take to an IP.
Oh, for sure. It's super smart. Not to get super political about it, but why can't our country do this as well?
That's a great idea. Let's brand health and safety.
I mean, yeah. Like, all kidding aside, yes, we should absolutely be doing that. But instead, we have to pledge allegiance to the United States of Disney. So moving on to dining, Disney World is making it easier to check in for a dining reservation and still maintain social distancing practices. A new mobile dine check-in feature will be implemented within the My Disney Experience app. When you have a reservation at select restaurants, the app will send you a push notification when your check-in window arrives. You can check in using the app or scan the QR code sent to you in the restaurant's lobby. Once you check in and your table is ready, you'll get another notification to proceed to a specified location in the restaurant. The list of restaurants participating has not yet been released, but it can be assumed that this will apply to most table service locations.
A great addition to My Disney Experience and something that will be incredibly useful even after the pandemic, right? Like just check in and then head to the area to be seated.
Absolutely. Yep. It's definitely something that is born out of necessity and will be very helpful going forward in the future. Speaking of, Disney Springs is currently testing a new security scanning system that they are considering implementing in the parks. Manufactured by Evolve Express, it is the first non-stop weapons screening system that automatically screens groups of people without them having to slow down or stop. Guests can be scanned individually or as groups, and it has the potential to be 10 times faster than a traditional security checkpoint. The system also has the ability to perform human temperature screenings, which, if successful, could replace the current manual screenings. So moving over to the other coast, ahead of the July 17th reopening of Disneyland and the July 9th reopening of Downtown Disney, California state officials plan to issue COVID-19 guidelines specifically aimed at theme parks to ensure all safety measures are put in place. The California Attractions and Parks Association, which represents Disneyland, is working closely with Governor Gavin Newsom on the guidelines. So now we come to some bummer news, Adam. The 2020 Star Wars celebration in Anaheim, California has been canceled. The event will, however, be returning on August 18th, 2022. Anyone who had a ticket to the 2020 event can get a full refund, receive credit for Star Wars Celebration merch, or transfer the ticket to the 2022 event. Anyone choosing to transfer the ticket will get an exclusive Stormtrooper character pin for each ticket transferred. Disneyland After Dark Star Wars Night has also been postponed with no date set yet for rescheduling. Also, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party nights in Disney World have officially been canceled, along with all H2O Glow nights at Typhoon Lagoon for the remainder of the year. Anyone who had already purchased a ticket will be issued a full refund. Adventures by Disney has canceled all trips scheduled through August 2020. But there is some bright news, Adam. Disney World has not yet canceled the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party or the Epcot International Festival of the Holidays yet. They did release a statement stating that they are closely monitoring the situation and will make an official decision as they learn more about the potential spread of COVID-19.
I think once Disney feels it's right to do so, they should just announce the Festival of Festivals and just smash all the festivals together. So it's like Mickey's Very Scary Christmas Party, and they can have a Nightmare Before Christmas theme and just make it one giant party and or festival.
I love this. Maybe each land in the Magic Kingdom can be a different holiday, and you just walk through the holidays.
That is genius, Patrick.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Speaking of festivals, Adam, the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival is getting a much earlier start date, but it will be a much smaller, you might say, bite-sized event. You like that? You like that? Happy Father's Day, everyone. So the festival will begin on July 15th, 2020, and it will feature around 20 global marketplaces like Hawaii. Ooh, those pork sliders, though.
Get porked.
Oh, dear. Also, hops and barley and islands of the Caribbean will be there. Each of the marketplaces will be spaced out around the park. The Eat to the Beat concert series, however, has been canceled, but local Epcot entertainment like Mariachi Cobre and the Jammers will spread out their performances throughout the day, offering more showtimes to view. And food and wine merch will become available shortly after the festival's July 15th start date. An end date to the festival has not yet been set, but in past years, the full festival went through mid-November, and that can probably be expected for this year as well.
I can't imagine the crushing blow that Sugar Ray feels knowing that he won't be performing at the Eat to the Beat concert series.
Yes, Sugar Ray is definitely in his house crying right now.
Mark McGrath?
That's right. Is he fine still? Is he still hot?
He was.
But is he still? Is anyone still hot in the pandemic? Who can say?
Stay tuned, listeners. We'll answer that question in our upcoming Questions and Peter Panzers episode.
I like it. Good segue. So, last but not least in this never-ending story, we will end on a good note. Hong Kong Disneyland officially reopened this past June 18th, giving guests a look at the nearly completed Castle of Magical Dreams, which will have its official premiere later this year. Around 100 families were invited as special guests to the reopening, and Hong Kong Disneyland will continue working with different nonprofit organizations to invite families to visit throughout the season.
I really like that castle, Patrick.
I am on board with it. I think it's beautiful.
I know it's received kind of mixed reviews, but I think it's really fun to kind of pick out the different turrets and what movie they correspond to. I think it's really special.
It's kind of like the It's a Small World version of a Disney castle.
It's a tall world because it's tall.
Wow. Wowee.
Well, that was a ton of information, Patrick, and I applaud you for kind of weeding your way through it. Are you feeling more or less hopeful as this information continues to roll out?
Great question. I'm feeling more hopeful that Disney is doing everything they can to ensure safety. However, the more I read about what's happening in Florida in general has me less hopeful. So it's a little bit balanced right now. A mix of emotions. What about you?
I'm worried, Patrick. I'm worried.
Yeah, I am still on the fence about my November trip.
But pork sliders.
It's true. That would make it worth it. All right, I'm going.
A couple of major announcements were made late last week regarding travel to some domestic Disney resorts and magic bands at Walt Disney World Resort. First up, there are few things we love more on GDTD than a big, beautiful package. Unfortunately, the Walt Disney Travel Company prefers smaller packages and has announced that starting in 2021, it will no longer offer air transportation as part of its packages for guests traveling to Walt Disney World Resort, Disneyland Resort, and Aulani, a Disney resort and spa. The change applies to both consumer direct and third-party bookings. The Walt Disney Travel Company will continue to make new airline bookings for travel through the end of 2020, and its teams will continue to service existing airline bookings through the end of the year, assuming 2020 will end. It's not going to end, people. This is the year we're stuck in forever.
Yep, that about sums it up.
Next, Disney has announced that it will be retiring complimentary Magic Band distribution to Walt Disney World Resort hotel guests for new reservations with arrivals beginning January 1st, 2021. Disney stated, quote, "In 2021, we plan to unveil an innovative new offering as part of the My Disney Experience app that will bring features of a Magic Band to your smart devices, building on the app's existing digital key feature. Disney Resort hotel guests will continue to have the option to purchase new Magic Bands at a discount and will be introducing even more colors and designs featuring favorite Disney characters in the future," end quote. Guests who prefer not to purchase a discounted Magic Band will be able to use the My Disney Experience app or a key to the World Card during their visit. Magic Bands will still be sold in retail locations and on shopdisney.com, and guests will be able to continue using the wearables throughout Walt Disney World Resort. So, Patrick, we have to say goodbye to complimentary Magic Bands as part of our trips to Walt Disney World. I will remember you.
Oh, very touching. Very touching.
Do-be-do-do-do. Will
dear.
you remember me? Dooby-doo-doo. Okay, I'll stop.
It's like we made a pledge to shorten our episodes, Adam. You can't keep doing the whole song.
Yeah, I feel the same. It's time for them to be retired.
Well, I mean, it's not as though Magic Bands are going away. They're just not giving them away for free now.
Sure, great. I mean, purchase Magic Bands if you want them. I'm all about having everything in one location. I want it all on my phone.
Fair enough. It's time for me to upgrade from a flip phone, apparently.
You still have a flip phone?
I can either confirm or deny that, Adam.
Click. Do you still intend to wear Magic Bands around the resort?
I'm wearing one right now, Adam. Guess where?
Well, I don't see it on your wrist. Oh, dear.
Hey-oh.
2016. Remember 2016, Patrick?
I do not.
Well, it was a very good year for Walt Disney Animation Studios, thanks to the talents of Zootopia co-directors Byron Howard and Jared Bush and Moana composer Lin-Manuel Miranda. We know talent attracts talent, and Disney loves to encourage the creative brains behind their biggest hits to collab on new projects. So when Lin-Manuel Miranda stated he and Byron Howard and Jared Bush were working on a project together for Disney, it came as a surprise to no one. Last week, we learned a bit more about the project from thedizinsider.com. I can't read that website name without thinking it's highly inappropriate.
That speaks volumes about your brain.
Diz Insider, I hardly know her.
Oh, dear.
According to the site's sources, the film is tentatively titled Encanto, which translates to charm in English. Encanto is centered on a young girl in Brazil who is the only member of her family to not have magical powers. As I mentioned, Lin-Manuel Miranda is writing the music, as well as directing the film alongside Byron Howard. Jared Bush will co-write the screenplay with Charisse Castro-Smith. According to the Diz Insider, I hardly know her, not much else is known regarding the project. However, Disney Animation has an untitled film scheduled for release on Thanksgiving weekend, November 24th, 2021, which seems like the right landing spot for this project.
Super excited about this, but I have a question for you. Is this going to be our link to finally getting a Brazil pavilion in Epcot?
Well, they're already working on it. So it seems like perfect synergy. If this is going to open next year in November, why would they not kind of coordinate that pavilion opening, should the budget still be there, with the opening of this film?
True story, true story. I love this. I'm super excited about it.
Me too. I mean, there's some incredible talent behind this film, and I love the premise. It sounds really charming.
It sounds like, Adam, you might be coming around to being a Lin-Manuel Miranda fan.
Oh, make no mistake, Patrick. I am a fan of his off-screen.
You can come at Adam on his Instagram page at Adam Hummel. Hey, Adam.
Hey, Patrick.
You're still gay, right?
Sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Depends on the day, depends on the gay.
Wow. Got it. Well, it being Pride Month, I thought we should dedicate an episode to all things Pride as it relates to Disney.
I love it. Let's celebrate. Let's be proud. Let's hug a rainbow.
Hug a double rainbow across the sky.
Ride that rainbow.
Oh my. So for a little bit of behind-the-scenes context, Adam, we should let our Tweedledees know that you brought up the idea recently of watching Love, Victor and giving a little review of it, the new show that is on Hulu right now, which led both of us into an interesting conversation about whether or not Disney can take credit for the show Love, Victor, seeing as though it was going to be on Disney+, but they moved it over to Hulu instead.
Yes, sir.
Which then led us into a very in-depth conversation about queer representation in Disney, and it struck us both that maybe we should instead dedicate our episode to that topic, queer representation in Disney films.
I love it. It's something we have not really touched on in our almost 2 years of producing this podcast.
It's very true. And sadly, there's not a whole lot to touch on when it comes to queer representation with Disney.
That's very true. They have a very, very I'm going to throw in one more very poor track record when it comes to representation in their films and television.
Exactly. It's not as though it's non-existent. They're getting better, but they need to be further along, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, particularly when they're a company that seems to promote inclusion whenever possible, they can really reach out to families and get messages of inclusion into kids' minds at a very young age and get families having conversations about inclusion and what it means to be gay or lesbian or transgender, at least on the very basic levels through their programming, right?
Absolutely. I think Disney has a huge opportunity to be at the upstream of information for queer content.
Yeah, but they're just doing a bad job of it. And I love you, Disney. You know I love you. I wouldn't have a podcast if I didn't love you, but we need to make dramatic improvements very quickly, and hopefully that will be the case going forward.
It seems that maybe just you and I are the queer representation for Disney.
And we're not even really Disney, Patrick. We're like Disney's stepbrother who maybe robbed a bank and has some emotional problems.
We're the 20th Century Fox of Disney. So maybe let's get started by talking about what does currently exist when it comes to Disney movies, TV, and maybe even theme parks.
That sounds great to me.
So I've kind of broken this up into some categories. Maybe we can talk about it that way. The first one I have is the blink and you'll miss it gaze.
They're there, Patrick.
They're there, but barely. So what I'm talking about is, for instance, in the recent live-action version of Beauty and the Beast, we were told by Bill Condon himself that there would be a nice, exclusively gay moment in the movie. And instead, we got a very subtle flirt moment that lasted about 2 seconds between LeFou and another man in the celebration at the end of the movie. Blink and you'll miss it.
Girl, we need to talk about this. Patrick, I like calling you girl, first of all, because we don't do that enough on the podcast. Time and time again, we are promised that there will be a gay character in a film or an important gay moment in a film from Disney or the directors or the producers who are working on the projects for Disney, and they have consistently been the letdown of all letdowns.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely agreed. We can reference the Avengers Endgame, for instance, which had a less than minor character say that I think he said that he lost a boyfriend in Thanos' snap, and then he went on a date. Again, this was seconds of one movie in a franchise with over 20 movies.
That's right. You know, we got to bring up that lesbian couple in The Rise of Skywalker.
Absolutely. Again, 1 second in a story arc that has over 9 movies, multitudes of galaxies, and there's apparently only one gay couple.
And look, inclusion is great, right? It's great to have representation up on the screen. I know these are really tiny moments, but I think what makes me really upset about these is that they seem designed to be taken out of the film for countries that wouldn't be having it, right? So like these moments are not groundbreaking moments in the film. They are just little asides that can easily be edited out for countries like, Russia, China, who have horrible records when it comes to LGBTQ plus rights.
Absolutely. It seems like there's 2 pandering moments that are going on. They're A, pandering to the gay community by saying there is going to be a gay moment in the movie, and then they're also pandering to these countries that can easily edit out that, quote, gay moment.
Oh, why do we fall for it every time, Patrick? I'm like, there's going to be a gay character. There's going to be a gay moment. And it's like you're sitting in the theater and you just sink into your chair and are slightly embarrassed and more than slightly furious.
We did, however, get a well-done blink and you'll miss it moment in the movie Onward, which was released this year in 2020. So finally, this year alone, we got a character actually say or out themselves in a movie.
That's right. Officer Spectre, voiced by Lena Waithe in Onward, vocalized the fact that she was in a lesbian relationship. And it was a big step forward and yet a small moment in the film, but still a step forward. So I think we should be appreciative of that, right?
Yes, absolutely. It was definitely the very first verbal recognition of an LGBTQ plus character in a Disney animated movie. So that should be commended, but also Disney's been around for a very long time, and just this year alone is the first time that that's happened.
And they've kind of like pussyfooted around it up until this point. Like they've had quote unquote gay characters in films, but they've never actually like come out on film or admitted that they were in a gay relationship or a lesbian relationship. They've kind of just been background characters like we've talked about And Disney has always left it up to the viewer to decide or define, rather, what that relationship really is.
That's right. That's actually a really good segue into the next category, Adam, which are subtext or background potential gay characters.
All right. So these have been all over Disney movies, I would say, at least for the last decade, where we see these background characters and we just get a glimpse into their personal lives. And I think for the community, we're all like, oh, we know what's going on there. But then again, Disney never clearly defines the relationship. So there's no commitment. There's no statement made that they're embracing gay culture and inserting these meaningful characters into films.
That's absolutely right. In fact, a perfect example of that is there is potentially a lesbian couple in the background of Finding Dory. And when Disney was asked about it, they said, quote, they can be whatever you want them to be, which to me is a really unfortunate answer, I think.
It's Patrick.
Fair. That's fair.
What is Disney losing out on by making that commitment and just saying, yes, that is a lesbian couple? Are they afraid of the million moms or whatever the hell that group is called?
Yes, they are afraid of losing 1 million moms.
Because I think that group is actually 5 moms with like a large megaphone, but not necessarily the clout or the following that their name seems to suggest.
I think it's actually just 3 incels who live in their mom's basements.
Oh, so they're not even moms.
That's my guess. That's my guess.
Or does mom in this instance stand for man oh man, and it's actually just, as you said, a dumb man?
That must be what it is, Adam. That must be what it is.
We've cracked it.
We've cracked the code on that one. So there's another potential lesbian moment in the background. Again, the background of Toy Story 4. And then there's a little blink and you'll miss it background in Frozen, where Oaken's family portrait has what looks like a picture of 4 small children surrounded by a strapping blonde man who is clearly not Oaken, which could be construed as his partner and their children.
Oh, Patrick. And Jennifer Lee, who is very talented, we all acknowledge that, kind of made the statement, again, that the audience can determine the relationship of Oaken and this man who was in the sauna.
They've also sort of given that answer to Elsa, who the queer community has embraced with the hashtag Give Elsa a Girlfriend, because we all suspect that she's clearly a lesbian character, but they're just not saying it.
I keep comparing this to Black Panther.
Okay.
I think Disney was unprepared for the response they got to Black Panther. And I'm not just talking about from the Black community. I'm talking about from everyone, right? Like everyone loved that movie. And the reason we were all into it was because it wasn't a story we had seen a million times before. It was something we were experiencing as a first. It was a major motion picture that introduced us to a culture that many of us hadn't necessarily explored before.
Right. It's just a perfect example of representation on screen. When you see somebody who doesn't look like you for so long and isn't part of your community for so long in superhero movies, like any of the other Avengers movies, you start to think, well, maybe I can't be a superhero. And you won't get that experience until you finally see it on screen, like your comment about Black Panther.
And I think that if Disney was bold enough and brave enough to take the step forward and say, yes, you know what? Elsa is a member of the LGBT plus community. If they were to do that, can you imagine the support they would receive, not only from the community, but also from all of the allies who support the community? It would be overwhelming. I think, again, they would be surprised. They would be surprised that the voices who were positive about the statement they were making would far surpass the voices that would be making negative comments or trying to in some way tie Elsa's connection to the community to a sin or other religious kind of negative connotation.
Right. And it's not as though they haven't allowed the community to use and embrace the song Let It Go and Show Yourself as gay anthems. They're all over the place and they're not putting a stop to it. So they're fine selling it, but they're not fine fully endorsing it, which is a shame, I think.
Yeah, we see that in the parks too, right? It's like with the Pride merchandise. They're fine selling the merchandise and will absolutely buy it. But when it comes to kind of committing, in the domestic parks anyway, to a Pride celebration, it's just not there yet.
Yes, absolutely. And they should get credit for having the merchandise available and for their enormous and generous donation to Glisten that comes along with the merch. But I think they need to step up their game because I'll be frank, it's just simply not enough right now to say that, yes, we have rainbow items. And they don't even say pride items, they say rainbow items. So I think that they need to work harder because they owe it to the community.
Yeah, they do. And they owe it to their cast members who are members of the community too. The cast members who are designing things for the parks and making sure that their guests have a magical experience. We know that Disney employs a large number of people from the community because the people from the community are drawn to Disney. We are. And so it's time for them to repay the commitment their cast members make and the commitment that the fans make.
Yes, agreed. And I think it's time that they do the work themselves as well. I think for such a long time, Disney has allowed its fans, its guests, and its cast members to do the work for them. And now is the time for Disney to go, we have you. We have your back. Here we are. We'll do the heavy lifting. You guys just enjoy it.
Yeah, we need real leadership from them.
Amen. So let's move on to the next category, Adam. I have written down as queer-coded villains in Disney.
We have been waiting and waiting to talk about this, Patrick. In fact, this idea of having a conversation about queer-coded villains was brought up by one of our Tweedledees almost a year ago, Patrick.
I know. We need to do better, Adam.
Our Tweedledee, Denzel, who you can find on Instagram at @from_Washington, actually sent us an article entitled, I Miss Disney's Queer-Coded Villains, but the Next Generation Won't. It was an opinion piece that was written for newnow.next.com by Samantha Allen. It's a fascinating read.
Oh, absolutely. And before we move on, we should also give credit where credit is due to Denzel, who is also the person who named our Tweedledees the Tweedledees.
We owe him so much.
We certainly do.
So before we kind of dive into the article, let's talk briefly about what queer-coded means, or sometimes they're called gay-coded characters in films, and they're not always villains. Like we already mentioned Oaken from Frozen, right? A lot of people think like Timon and Pumbaa are queer-coded. Bucky and Pronk from Zootopia are a gay couple. They're Judy's neighbors. And while they're never confirmed as gay in the film, co-director Jared Bush confirmed them as gay in an interview. So these are characters that are layered with characteristics from the LGBT plus community or things that we associate with the community that are kind of like hidden in the characters' personalities that kind of then make them queer or gay coded.
It sort of is derived from the term code switching, which applies to many, many different people and communities. For the LGBTQ plus community, code switching is where you are able to go in and out of situations being more heterosexual forward or being more gay forward.
You don't have to do that at work anymore.
You do at a bar, though, sometimes, Adam. You do at a bar.
So villains, Patrick. A lot of the villains we experienced watching Disney films growing up were queer-coded, right?
Yes, I'm looking at you, Scar. I'm looking at you, Jafar, and Iago.
I'm looking at you, Ursula, who, as we all know, is based on drag queen Divine.
And let's be clear, she has two gay best friends, Flotsam and Jetsam.
Yzma and Kronk?
Exactly.
They're like the Leah Michelle and Jonathan Groff of that film.
They're basically Karen and Jack from Will and Grace.
So all these villains that we kind of grew up with watching in Disney films had these kind of queer characteristics added to them. Did you have an awareness of this, Patrick, when you were just a little Patrick?
I don't know that I would have had the wherewithal to put that together, but there always was definitely something that stood out about a lot of the villains. I'm thinking of Captain Hook, even, who had just sort of that, I don't know what the word is. It's like familiarity with with a quote unquote gay characteristic.
Were you more attracted to them? And I don't mean like physically attracted. I just mean kind of like personality wise.
That's a good question. I don't know if I was necessarily because of that. I've always been a villains fan in general. So maybe subconsciously, for sure.
We know a lot of people really embrace the villains. I mean, there's always this rumor of a villain's park or the hope of a villain's park. But I think people do kind of tend to gravitate towards villains because, let's face it, a lot of times the hero or the heroine of a film can be kind of bland. And the villains are the ones who really kind of bring the flavor to the film and are the more interesting characters to watch.
Yeah, they bring sort of the color and the drama to an otherwise bland movie.
A drama. I love them, and I think that's why I was drawn to them. And much like you, I don't know if it was me recognizing elements of them as being part of the community or characteristics they had been given that kind of tied them to the community, but I was always more drawn to the villains as a kid, and still am as an adult, than I was to the main characters of a film.
There's an interesting element to all of this, though, where we're getting these queer-coded, mainly villains, which has an interesting connotation that queer people are then villains.
Aren't we?
Only when the library is open, Adam.
How do you feel about that now as an adult male, looking back on the villains that you grew up loving?
I'm super torn about it. I love that these characters exist, but I want to steer us away from saying that's what gay looks like now. Does that make sense?
It does. I have to say, I don't mind them, and I don't want that to come off as me being callous, but it might be partly because I'm of a different generation. I would really be curious to find out how the young people today feel about the villains when they watch these films that kind of we grew up with.
Sure, there's definitely a nostalgia that comes with it, but when I'm thinking about how they're represented today, it's sort of like the gay clown in a movie, right? I'm thinking about Jack from Will and Grace, where, yes, these characters and people certainly do exist in real life. There are many colors of the rainbow, but it's upsetting to me, I think, when that's the only look we get at a queer character in a movie, that we need more, sorry to use this pun, the straight man gay person.
Yes. I find, though, a lot of times that when a studio embraces a gay person as a main character or a lead character, they water them down so much that there's only like one level to the character the whole time, because they want to play it safe. Like, they don't really want to explore the depths of a character. And we can get into this a little bit when we talk about Love, Victor, but, you know, it's like they just want to make sure that that character appears more as a role model and less of an actual person.
Which I actually like. I'm going to be on the other side of that conversation, because I think that it goes back to the talk about representation. And instead of getting a gay character in a movie who is dying of AIDS or coming out, we just need someone to simply be gay in a movie or on TV.
I totally agree. But what I'm saying is that it gets to be too bland for me then. Like, they're so watering down that character that it's no longer about them as a person. It's more just about, here's our gay lead. There aren't those levels there anymore that an actual person has. You know, like right now there seems to be this embrace of kind of an anti-hero where there's a person who, you know, may not be the greatest role model, but you understand that they're a human being. And so there's multiple layers to that character. And I feel like, as of now anyway, whenever there's a lead gay character, it's always just kind of like this quote unquote good person as opposed to a more complex human being.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think we're both saying the same thing. We just want better representation.
I want to love and hate that person.
We need Disney to use all the colors of the rainbow when creating gay characters. So let's move into, before we get to Love, Victor specifically, where Disney is doing better right now, but still has a long ways to go. I'm thinking about Gravity Falls, Andy Mack, High School Musical, the series, and Encore all have very interesting and yet not hit you over the head with gay characters or storylines.
Why do you think it is that Disney has embraced characters in more prominent roles in their series as opposed to their movies?
I think it's just them dipping their toes and seeing how far they can go before they're ready to make that bigger plunge into the movies. That's my personal opinion, but who can say? What about you? What do you think?
My guess is that more people see their movies, or there's more of an investment in their movies than there is in their television programming or series. So they're more willing to kind of take that risk in series programming rather than taking that leap in motion pictures.
Right. They're not relying on ticket sales. They're just relying on people to be able to turn on or turn off their TV when they want to see these stories.
Yeah. Yeah. And we should talk, too, about what we know, what's coming down the road, right? We know that The Eternals is coming out, the Marvel superhero film, in which, again, we're promised a major character is gay, and we actually get to see a gay kiss on screen, and he has a family. So that's something that we know is coming down the road that we have to look forward to.
For sure. I'm definitely hopeful about that, but I'm worried that it might be another The Boy Who Cried Gay Wolf.
How does that boy cry, Gay Wolf? Give us an example, Patrick.
He goes, Yas Wolf.
Yeah, I mean, it could, again, be a letdown, but let's hope that Disney really leans into this moment and embraces this character. And the superhero community, and by that I mean those who are really into the comic books, those who have been fans of Marvel for a long time, are willing to take that leap. We know that. They are excited to have these characters represented on screen. So it's time for Disney to, again, thank those fans by letting us have this character.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, there is a campaign right now for Valkyrie, the character Valkyrie, to have more of a bisexual storyline as she does in the comic books, which that would be incredible if they go down that route.
Yeah, the rumor is that in Thor Love and Thunder, she's going to be looking for a queen to help her rule Asgard. And by queen, I don't mean us. I mean an actual lady.
Well, this queen would be fully on board with that storyline.
And this queen would be fully on board with being Valkyrie's queen if she was into that.
Valkyrie can get it.
She can get it. She can get it, Patrick. There's also rumored to be a lesbian relationship that's going to be represented in Black Panther 2. So we have these potentially positive representations of gay characters coming from Disney, but conversely, we also have Jungle Cruise coming out, in which we know a straight actor is going to be playing a gay character, or at least an effeminate character. And once that character description leaked, of Jack Whitehall's character being hugely effete, very camp and funny, people got very upset because it was a straight actor portraying a gay character on screen. So it'll be interesting to see how Disney handles that now. Can I just ask briefly, Patrick, how do you feel about straight actors playing gay characters?
I'm fine with it. I don't know that there's anything necessarily wrong with it. I may be corrected by many more intelligent people than I am about this topic, but I think there is definitely a danger when they're making fun of being gay. I think there's a line that needs to be walked of just portraying a gay person and making a joke of a gay person.
Yeah, I agree. I think as long as it's done very respectfully, I have no problem with a straight actor playing a gay character. And that doesn't mean that it needs to be a serious character. It can be a very funny character too. But I think we kind of get into a danger zone when we say only gay people can play gay characters. It's just very limiting, and I don't think actors should be limited to what they are. That's not the point of an actor, right?
Exactly, because then you get into territory of then if I'm a gay actor, can I only play gay characters? And that simply is not the case, right?
For you personally, yes, you can only play gay characters. But yes, for the broader acting community, no, everyone should be allowed to explore different personalities, different sexualities when it comes to these roles.
Absolutely, which can go into a year-long conversation about what is masculinity, what is feminine, and does it matter, right?
It doesn't. There, I just answered it.
Good. You saved us 1 year of conversation. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So let's briefly dive into the topic that expanded this entire conversation, Adam, which is the new television show that was just released on Hulu called Love, Victor.
So how many episodes were you able to watch?
So I've only seen 2 episodes, and let's be clear, Tweedledees, no need to pause or stop listening. This will be very spoiler-free for you.
We won't spoil a single thing. I, Patrick, watched the entire thing.
Oh my goodness, it's 10 episodes long, which makes it about 5 hours of your time. When did you find the time to watch the entire series? It just came out 2 days ago.
COVID, Patrick. I COVIDed it.
Got it. You COVIDed all of Love, Victor.
I did. Matthew watched it with me, and quite frankly, we kind of got into it and just couldn't stop.
Interesting. So you're a fan of it, for sure, right?
Is it a perfect television show? It is not. And absolutely, the pilot is very clunky to me. It's very exposition heavy, needlessly so. But once the episodes started progressing, they really started developing these characters in a fun and interesting way. And it made me feel like when I was a teenager and not out and had crushes on guys, it made me kind of remember what that felt like. And so it was compelling in that way.
Sure. We should also say that Love, Victor is a spin-off television series of the movie Love, Simon. Have you seen Love, Simon?
I did not see Love, Simon. Did you?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I actually really like that movie.
So how did you feel then about the series or the episodes you were able to watch?
Well, I'm only 2 episodes in, Adam, because I do have things to do, unlike you. I'm enjoying it with a question mark right now. I agree with you that the pilot was pretty clunky, and so that almost turned me off from watching any more of it. But I did dive into episode 2 today, in fact, and I'm getting more into some of the characters. I think the writing needs some help.
Yeah, I would encourage you to keep progressing because I think it's around episode 3 or 4 where it really starts to kind of take off. Or it's that situation where you just watch something and kind of become numb to it or accepting of it. And then you're like, is this good? It might be kind of good. And then you're just invested in it.
Fair enough. Yeah, every once in a while it seems like it's a 90-year-old person trying to write for a teenager and just not really understanding how kids talk.
Absolutely. And I promise you that gets better. So I don't know what happened between the pilot and episodes 3 and 4, but there was some kind of shift in the writing and it does get stronger. Now, are there cheesy moments to it? Absolutely. There are times when it's just like laugh out loud ridiculous. But what I will say that it has going for it is its level of sincerity. It is truly a sincere show and in no way is like winking to the audience or sarcastic. It also doesn't contain any werewolves or like supernatural teen drama elements that like that like Riverdale has embraced. This is truly just a very sincere project that is like character study and teen drama at the same time.
Yes, that I definitely am getting out of it just 2 episodes in. So that's nice to see. I also, what I really love about this TV show is that it's so incredibly diverse, not just in exploring sexuality, but just in cultural communities. And I'll say it time and time again, and I've said it 1,000 times already, but this kind of a TV show is what we need when it comes to representation, because what I'm seeing on screen now is reflected in the community that I live in.
Absolutely. I want to have attended this high school.
I did not grow up in a family that could have afforded a high school like that, but yes, I would have loved that.
You're right, Patrick. It is incredibly diverse and offers really kind of compelling characters, especially as the first season goes on, in what these characters are interested in. It's not just like the stereotypical tropes that we see in teen dramas. These characters really do have varying interests that wouldn't necessarily be associated with like the lead girl or the lead guy. They kind of branch out from those tropes.
Right. There's definite depth and complexity happening, which is great. And I have to give praise to one of my favorite actors, Anna Ortiz, who played Betty's sister in Ugly Betty. She is absolutely phenomenal, and I want to watch her every day of my life. That sounds very stalkery, but I'm okay with it.
Hilda. She was Hilda on Ugly Betty.
She's incredible, and she has not aged a minute.
No, she's fantastic. In fact, the adults are also very compelling on this show. If you're not into the teen aspect, the adults do have a very interesting storyline. Patrick, you're about to learn some very interesting things about Isabel Salazar, played by the brilliant Anna Ortiz.
Which is something I think that they pulled in a little bit from the movie Love, Simon, where it was as much about the parents as it was about the main characters.
Yeah, they do a really good job of that in the series, and it feels like they're going to be pushing that even more in season 2.
Fair enough. So, Adam, I have to ask you the million-dollar question. Is Love, Victor a TV show that Disney can take credit for?
I have an answer for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
Yes, Patrick, and here is why.
Okay.
To me, Love, Victor is like a Star Wars movie or a Marvel film, right? So Disney acquired Marvel, they acquired Lucasfilm, and therefore they produce these movies that are under the Disney umbrella. So Disney acquired 20th Century Fox Television, and Disney Plus gave the series a straight-to-series order in April 2019. This is a month after Disney acquired 20th Century Fox Television. And so therefore, Patrick, I believe that Disney can own this show and claim it as its own series.
Fair enough.
What do you think?
I am on the other side of that big gay fence because I think Disney, in fact, I know Disney had the opportunity to put it on the Disney Plus platform, and it almost did that. But instead, they moved it over to Hulu due to, quote, general sexual exploration, Which, I guess, what are we defining as sexual exploration? Is it exploration when a boy starts to have feelings for a girl or vice versa? So why aren't those stories taken off of Disney Plus? Let's face it, almost every single Disney prince and princess share an on-screen kiss. So is it because they can't have two same-sex couples kiss and they're afraid of that on Disney Plus? It baffles me why they're not embracing it as a Disney television show. They themselves are not embracing it as Disney.
They are, though, because on the D23 website, they listed it as a new release to watch.
Right, but none of their branding has Disney behind it when it comes to the TV show.
But neither does like a Star Wars film. It just starts with the Lucasfilm logo and not the Disney logo.
But Star Wars is on Disney Plus.
Let me just say this. As you continue to watch the series, I think it will make it abundantly clear why it's not on Disney Plus.
I know where you're going with that, but let's take the movie Never Been Kissed, for instance, which is on Disney Plus. There's an entire scene where they show teenagers putting condoms on bananas.
Okay, that's a valid point.
And in all of the Marvel movies and the Star Wars movies, people are literally murdering each other on screen.
All right, you're starting to sway me now.
So I take issue. This is my point, I think. I take issue when companies like Disney turn exploring your sexuality into something that is not suitable for all audiences.
Yeah, I agree. I get that. I'm going to stand behind that this is a Disney production because Disney also owns Hulu, but I'm going to shame Disney for not leaving it on Disney Plus. You're right. It should have been left on Disney Plus.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think if they had left it on Disney Plus, I would be more than happy to applaud Disney for this show, but I'm hesitant to do so because they made a full decision to remove it from Disney Plus.
Did you hear what just happened, America? Patrick made his case. I listened to his case, and I ended up agreeing with Patrick.
This is how I get people to date me, Adam. I just convince them to.
You talk to them about Love Victor and wear them down.
Yes, I exhaust people into enjoying my presence.
Regardless, I think just kind of like as a social moment, I think people should really check out the series and, judge for themselves how they feel about it. Like I said, it was a really good reminder for me of what it was like to be a teenager who was not out and experiencing all those very complex emotions that were tied to that. Plus, attractive, horny teenagers.
Oh dear. Let's steer away from that conversation.
I'm not saying I'm going to get involved with them as teenagers, Patrick. I'm just saying that the cast is very attractive. Not only the quote unquote kids, but the adults too. Everyone's very good looking.
Yes, everyone has a really good hair story as well.
You're just rubbing that in my face now.
I am specifically excluding you from that statement.
That's fair.
So it seems like we are in agreement that it is a show worth watching. Is it the best show? Is it the best written show? Probably not, but it is definitely worth checking out, right?
Yes, check it out, and please let us know your thoughts, whether you think this is a Disney production, and how you feel about the series as a whole.
I'll add on to that, Adam. Please let us know your thoughts about Disney's representation of queer characters in general. We would love to hear from you.
This is a conversation we will absolutely be continuing. How can we not? We're a gay podcast. We're a Disney podcast. And it's a conversation that we still need to be having, right? Because the representation is just not there from the company that we love.
Yes, I think now more than ever, not just representing our community, the LGBTQ plus community, but all diverse communities need more representation across the board in Disney and beyond.
So please let us know your thoughts. You can reach out to us on social media. That's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at GDTD Podcast.
Or please leave us an email or a voice memo at info@gaysdothed.com.
Patrick, did you happen to reach the point in the series where Benji is teaching Victor how to make lattes?
Yes, that was episode 2.
Suggestive much?
That was a latte to take in, I have to say.
Oh, so foamy.
Oh, dear.
Hey, Patrick.
Hey, Adam.
We've reached the end of the episode. That means it's time for Quick D. And this week we are doing Quick D Classic. That means that you and I are going to be asking each other a question we have not been privy to prior to recording, and we're going to answer it off the cuff.
Give me that classic D.
I'll do it right now. Patrick, here's my question for you. As you know, we just completed our very, very insightful discussion on queer content in Disney media.
And very humble, I might add.
Yes, insightful and humble. And part of that conversation included talking about the new Hulu series, Love, Victor. And Patrick, it really struck a chord with me. It made me think about all of the teen dramas that are out there and how good some of them are and how just absolute trash some of them are. And then I thought, what would Patrick be like if he was a character in a teen drama? And I'm not saying it necessarily needs to be you, but what I want you to do is create a teen drama character for me. I need the character's name. I need their attributes. I need their personality. Who would you want to play in a teen drama?
Such a good question, Adam. Such a good question.
I know.
I think we all know that I would play the jock.
Absolutely.
And by that, I mean I would just be wearing a jock strap throughout the entire series of the show.
Right. Sure.
My character's name would be Jack, and they would just call me Jack and the Jock.
Jack and the Jock.
JJ for short. JJ if you're nasty.
I love it. I love when a teen drama character has a nickname. And you've just delivered that like dominoes.
And Jack and the Jock's story, Adam, thank you so much for asking, is that he's got a secret.
Oh.
He's got a big secret.
Oh.
Yeah, he's got 9+ secrets, in fact. Lots to uncover with Jack in the Jock. But one of his main secrets is that he loves Hello Dolly.
Twist.
Yep. He can't get enough of it. He is a straight but questioning character who loves football and Hello Dolly.
And apparently goes to a very liberal high school, because to be able to walk freely about the halls of that high school in nothing but a jockstrap.
Yes, absolutely. The high school is called Liberace High.
Okay. That really defines where this show takes place.
Absolutely. And the show title, I think, is called The Brunch Club.
The Brunch Club. That is perfect. It's a great reference to a classic John Hughes film from the 80s, and yet it updates it. It elevates it to a gay level.
Yes, it takes a potentially problematic 80s movie and turns it into a problematic character in a current TV show.
You know, you mentioned that JJ had a secret and that it was that he loves Hello Dolly. I assume, I mean, I'm not in the writer's room, but I assume that in some moment in the series, JJ is going to reveal that secret, right?
He is, absolutely. Ironically, the school is going to do the show Hello Dolly, and Jack and the Jock is going to audition for the role of Dolly.
Patrick, would you honor us with just a taste of what that scene would be like? That monologue, I assume, again, that JJ would deliver in revealing his secret?
I would be so honored, Adam, to give you just a taste of Jack's monologue. What? Picture it. The cafeteria. There's a flyer on the wall for auditioning for Hello Dolly. In the distance, in Jack and the Jock's sightline, he's eating a full cake for lunch because he needs to keep up his carbs for football practice, Adam.
Sure.
And also, I just love cake, and so if I have the opportunity to eat cake in a TV show, I'm going to do so.
And get paid for it.
But he takes the cake out of frustration, throws it across the room, stands up on the table in the middle of the cafeteria, and announces, "I'm Jack. I'm in a jock. I love Hello Dolly." And then he just bursts into tears. End scene.
Wow.
Thank you. Where's my Emmy?
There are so few moments on this podcast when you have truly, truly moved me, Patrick. And this, it's still not quite there yet, but you're getting really close.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, I cannot wait to see The Brunch Club coming to, I assume, CBS?
Well, not Disney Plus, as we've learned from Love, Victor.
Maybe this will be the first truly inclusive Disney Plus series.
It'll have to have that questionable content label on it in front, though, because of Jack and the Jock.
It probably won't ever fade away either. They'll just have to keep it on the screen the entire time.
Anytime I show up on screen, it'll just have that censor strip across my face that says questionable content.
Across your face, but not across the jock. Got it.
No, there's no question there, Adam. There's no question there. Well, let's move on, Adam, to your quick D question. Are you ready?
I was born ready.
Great. So there's a rumor flying around, Adam, that Reflections, a Disney Lakeside Lodge, might be canceled. The plans for it might be canceled. I need you to make one last pitch at making this the most fabulous Disney resort that ever was. How, Adam, are you going to save Reflections, a Disney Lakeside Lodge?
It's very odd you should ask this question because I've actually prepared an extensive PowerPoint that I was planning on giving to Bob Chapek. But you know what? This is my moment. And I'm assuming he's listening to this podcast. Why wouldn't he be?
He is. He absolutely is.
So here is my plea. Bobby, we need to have a talk. There's a rumor out there that Reflections, a Lakeside Lodge, is going to be canceled. And I just want you to know that that can't happen. Bobby, we need Reflections, a Lakeside Lodge. And in particular, the geriatric Disney community, Bobby, needs this. We all know it is essentially a senior living community wrapped in a Disney resort, and we're here for it. Who doesn't love grabbing a 4:00 dinner? Who doesn't love a well-appointed lanai where you can have cheesecake with the gals, say? And if you're at all questioning the direction of this resort, might I then just suggest, let's lean into the Golden Girls of it all. Let's embrace that. Let's have Blanche Devereaux themed rooms with palm fronds and banana leaves on the wall. Let's have Rose Nyland as a concierge because she is inviting. She is knowledgeable on things that happened in St. Olaf. I know this really has nothing to do with the current plans for the lodge, but if you're at all questioning whether you should keep it, I think the answer is yes. And I think the answer is taking it in a direction that embraces the Golden Girls and not necessarily nature. One last thing, Bobby. I know times are tough right now. I know things are looking pretty bleak. COVID cases are on the rise in Florida, and you may be questioning whether or not you should reopen the parks at all. But you know what I'm going to tell you? Keep looking forward. Keep forward thinking. And think about a lodge on a lake for old people.
Wow. Wow, Adam. That was inspiring to no one, but it was something you said. It was something you said.
I said it. Didn't I? I said it. Didn't I? I said it.
I am I am ready to put on a caftan right now, though. You have inspired me to do that.
Or some culottes.
Which would be more clothes than I've ever worn.
Not approved by JJ, for sure.
No, absolutely not. That will do it for this episode of Gays Do the D. Thanks for listening. To become a patron of the podcast, visit our website at gaysdothed.com/donate. For a donation of any amount, you can receive exclusive Gays Do the D content and help us continue to bring you the very best Disney news and discussion. Continue the conversation after this episode on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at GDTD Podcast. Submit your questions or show ideas to info@gaysdothed.com. Have a great week, everybody. See ya real soon.